80-hour weeks is a lot when you still carry the volume of like what you have going on at home.
Yeah.
It's impractical. So what I learned very quickly after some severe burnout is I have to do things differently. When you think
Hmm.
about the way that you show up at work, if you have a problem at work, what do? You solve it. No, there are all these solutions
Yes.
that we apply at work, but at home, we just kind of accept things
Hmm.
as fact. It's like, no, that is in my control to change. So at an early point, I thankfully had that insight. My youngest was, I don't know, probably 9 months at this point. And I kept thinking, gosh, why am I trying to still do life right now with two kids
Yes.
and the same way I was trying to do life as a family of two when it was just my husband and me?
It's
It's
not
just
one
not
plus one.
practical. Like
It
I
is
have
not
to
one plus
problem
one.
solve.
Yes. Yeah.
So I that's what I did. I mean, in the perfect engineering moment, I problem solved the heck out of my life and I built systems for literally everything.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Don't Fucking Shrink the Podcast. With me today is Courtney Cecil. And what I love about this opportunity is a lot of us are working moms. A lot of us have really tried to integrate being a mom into our working career. But, Courtney does things a little different. Courtney is a systems and integration specialist and engineer who actually has her own podcast and supports women in their journey to create systems that work for them and move them forward. Hey, Courtney, thanks for joining us.
Oh my gosh, Daphne, thanks for having me.
Where did systems come into? When did engineering become a factor?
Oh my gosh. So I am systems is engineering as a whole, Daphne, is inherently about problem solving. And as a very curious
Yes.
person, I think
Yes.
I was organically preordained to be an engineer of sorts. My now husband is an engineer. My sister's an engineer. My brother is an engineer. My dad was an engineer. My grandfather was an engineer. So there was just
Yeah.
also something about the way that our minds are wired. But I think more than anything, industrial and systems engineering is special. It is unlike the others that tend to be more design oriented and very heavy mathematically. Industrial and systems engineering is more about general problem solving and dot connecting and organization. And that's the exact type of work that now I'm doing, fast forward to the work that I'm doing now. But it, that I was always very organized and I was very good at being able to take something that somebody tells me on one side and something else that someone else tells me and figure out how to connect the dots for them and be able to get even more out of what they're trying to achieve because I'm able to see the connectivity and how 1 plus 1 can equal 4 instead of just 2.
Yeah.
So I think that engineering, while I was somewhat preordained to take that route, systems engineering as a whole is just so special because it takes that problem solving, but it also it's very process oriented. It is very routine driven. And it's just, I mean, it was such a special fit. So started out in manufacturing, literally working with people on the manufacturing line. I was not on the line myself. I was just helping kind of coach and corral them.
Yeah.
And then I moved into what's called business process reengineering, BPR, and consulting, and helped major organizations, actually in the federal government, most of them, figure out how they could make their processes more efficient. And
Mm.
then I moved into what became essentially organizational strategy. And organizational strategy is all about how you move a workforce at scale to do something that you want them to do. It's optimization still, but in a very different way. And then from a couple of decades in org strategy, my last role was head of culture at Wells Fargo. And
Yeah.
culture, and I was doing culture before that too. Culture is about value-based behavior change. So again,
Aha. Okay.
it's optimizing the way that people are working in a very aligned fashion around a core set of behaviors. Like culture change is all value-based. So that's essentially what I help moms do now is I help them optimize their life, but around what their core values are. So I help them build, I call it a life management system. And that's actually the name of my podcast too, is the life management system.
Yeah.
But how do I help you optimize what it is that you do around what you uniquely value? So I call it
Mm,
the 3 Ws. The 3 Ws are what do you value, what you value, what you prioritize, and what you spend. So you spend your resources, you spend time, you spend money, and you spend energy. And when you optimize those 3 things around what it is that you care about, not your neighbors, not somebody else, like that's when you get big time results. In culture, I have 2 very key metrics that I was responsible for. I was responsible for employee engagement. So how engaged are you? Are you showing up with your whole self or do you have one foot out the door? And then I was responsible for turnover. And when I think about particularly coming from consulting, when I think about where turnover tends to happen, it is very often women, and it is
mm.
very often at that middle manager level, and the reason it happens then is one of 2 things. 1, women decide to stay at home. They're like, "I want to be a very present, parent for my kids, and I feel like I can't do both."
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
they leave just the consulting industry in order to go into something with a much slower pace. Both of those things, I have a lot of appreciation for that decision making, but I just don't believe it has to happen. I think that you can do both. You just have to develop systems that will work for you, so that way you're not fighting as much friction. So
Yeah.
that is I don't know, I just feel like there's a way that, you don't have to leave unless you really want to, and it is in the interest of making that choice possible for people that really
Yeah.
attracted me to this work of specifically being a strategist for working moms.
Awesome. Are you ready to put on your cape?
Yeah, dude. I don't
Okay, good.
so, okay, so
Yes.
my favorite picture, I use this at the end of almost every webinar I give. It is a picture of, the woman bathroom, like, figurine?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The triangle. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
the triangle, exactly. So, it's that, but then the icon in the back lights up where it's like it was never a dress, and it becomes obvious that that's a cape that the woman's wearing instead of
I
a
love it.
dress,
Yes.
and I just think I saw that on a mug one time. I was like, "That's
That's it.
genius.
That's it. I
That's
was gonna say, it
so
was like,
good."
we've had it wrong all the time. It is not a
Yeah,
dress. It is not an ill-fitted tent dress. It is a
yeah.
cape. So, how did systems change your life when you started becoming a mom and still working, obviously, working and holding these jobs, these high-level jobs? Where did the system come in for you?
Everywhere. I am such a believer in systems, Daphne, and it sounds like such a cheap answer to just say
Yeah.
everywhere, but it's true.
Yeah.
So, there was a point when I was in consulting, I was working about 80-hour weeks.
Mm.
I was just tired all the time. It's a lot of
Mhm.
work. It turns out as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, I'm also working 80-hour weeks. So anybody who's thinking
Ta-da.
that that's a better option, like,
Yes.
yeah, like, I promise you, you might have more flexibility, but you do not have more time,
Mm.
and you probably have a lot less money for a long time. Um, but when I was in consulting, 80-hour weeks is a lot when you still carry the the volume of like what you have going on at home.
Yeah.
It's impractical. So what I learned very quickly after some severe burnout is I have to do things differently. When you think
Mhm.
about the way that you show up at work, if you have a problem at work, what do? You solve it. If delegation is broken, if you need a new project management system, if you continue to do the same thing over and over and over, you figure out how to automate. There are all these solutions
Yes.
that we apply at work, but at home, we just kind of accept things
Mhm.
as fact. It's like, no, that is in my control to change. So it was it was at an early point, I thankfully had that insight. My youngest was, I don't know, probably 9 months at this point. And I kept thinking, gosh, why am I trying to still do life right now with 2 kids
Yes.
and the same way I was trying to do life as a family of 2 when it was just my husband and me?
It's
It's
not
just
one
not
plus one.
practical. Like,
It
I
is
have
not
to
one plus
problem
one.
solve.
Yes. Yeah.
So I it's what I did. I mean, in the perfect engineering moment, I problem solved the heck out of my life, and I built systems for literally everything. And one of my favorite examples I use is around, because it's so practical, is
Mhm.
around dishes. Like, I hate a sink full of dishes. Hate it. I think it's so gross. I hate like dishes
Yep.
stacked on
The
each other where my
texture, the
hands
yeah,
then have to
exactly.
like,
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
love it. Okay, well, if the dishes always end up piled up in the sink because the dishwasher's full because it's running during the day, why don't we
Mhm.
just run it every freaking night? So that, like, even if it's
Yes.
not fully, like, if the dishwasher's not full, at least that way over breakfast, we get to unload it. And then the dishwasher always has capacity between breakfast and dinner. And then after dinner, once again, we'll start it. It is so simple, but
Yes.
that's a system. A system is
Mm.
essentially processes or routines that work together to make
Yeah.
something work. And it doesn't have to be that hard, but like that system is so simple, but yet it changed everything about the friction that I carry. Now think about doing that at scale. Like my clients, when I work with them, we are going end to end and we are looking at every aspect of their life, both at work and at home to be like, where are you bleeding energy? What are your biggest friction points? Where are you most frustrated? Where are you and your partner are stepping over each other's toes? Where are your kids causing problems for yourself? Where are your coworkers not respecting what boundaries you think you have in place? Where are you wasting time that is like that's you're giving yourself away for free to your organization? Like, we look at the whole kit and caboodle,
Yeah.
because there is likely an opportunity for a system in every pain point you experience.
I love that you also, and I followed one of your threads one time. I was really excited. You were talking about because of your time management, right? Doesn't always make you popular socially, right? Because I think your post was about not wanting to get your nails done, right? Like
Yeah, no,
recognizing, I know, I was like, but I was like, same, very same. So, right, in the way that like I have this amount of time to dedicate to the overarching goal in my life. And I think that's a really big pain point in a lot of ways for our listeners, for women of our age and with our responsibilities, is we start getting categorically stuck into how we socialize with each other, what self-care, I hate that word so much, self-care actually looks like, and 3, what we deserve, right? We always fall into these, like, terrible 3 categories. So, I was just giggling or laughing out loud when I saw this because the truth is, if I have no, I take it back. When I have an hour, not if, when I make an hour for myself during the day, during the week to improve the way I feel or the way I look, my investment is not in the aesthetics. It is in the deep work tissue. It's a yoga class. It is something that I have to build into my schedule with some additional support. But can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah. Well, first of all, I think that what you're hitting on around how you define self care is that you're saying, Daphne, like this is what makes me feel recharged, and that's
Mhm.
that's a very important distinction, that I want
Yes.
to call out before I talk about like how to create some of that time. I fully believe that self-care it's very individual. But I also feel very passionate that it is not getting your hair colored. It is not getting your nails done. It is
Not that
if
you
you want to do
shouldn't,
those
just
things
it's
because
not
you
the same.
value it, then
Yes.
absolutely you do you, boo. I want you to feel good about yourself. And if that's going to help you, then do it. But body maintenance is not like those are check the box things. Those are not
Yes.
filling your cup up. They are not making you
I'm not
feel
not
more
ready to
human. They're
brush my
not
teeth and get
recharging your
nails.
battery.
Yes, exactly.
So one, oh, I'm very passionate about making sure that all of my clients know exactly what most fills their cup up, what makes them feel recharged, but also what makes you feel the most you. Like for me, very similar to you, Daphne, it is like I know that I get great energy from seeing my trainer. I get like not only is she's become a friend, it's part of my social life, but also like, I feel good when I get in a real big sweat and I'm throwing weights in a gym.
Yes.
And I don't feel like myself when I do that. Like when I feel like myself, that is like when I'm laughing with girlfriends or when I'm singing my heart out at a concert or something like that.
Okay, yes.
So like I want to do both of those things. Both of those need to exist in my life for me to really feel most connected to myself, but also to take care of my battery. So I think that
Mm,
self-care, you need a little bit of everything. and above and beyond like general maintenance. Like, let's just assume that you're please prioritize general maintenance. Like it should be expected. It's kind of like
Yes.
Daphne when you said when, not if I find an hour in my day. So what I think that where I think you were going with the question, is more around like how are you going to find that hour? How are you going to
Yes.
find that hour to care for yourself? And as with everything I teach, it goes back to those 3 W's, the what do you value, what do you, prioritize, and what you spend.
Hmm.
Because you're gonna spend your time, money, and energy on the things you value the most. But when
Yes.
you start there, I promise you'll fit everything else in. It's kind of like trying to work out at the end of the day when you have 1, nothing else to give, but
Yes.
2, then you get sucked into the vortex of the day. You feel like you don't have time. But if you get it in the morning, you do.
Hmm.
Like, when you fit it in the morning, you do. Now, I'm not a morning person. So I do not say I'm not a 5 a.m.er. Like, that's not I am not proposing that that be the solution as much as I'm
Yes.
saying, like, how do you put your whatever it is that you value the most first? And when you get really clear on that and you fit that stuff in, I promise there's room for everything else. So, as an example, my fun is the very first thing I calendar. If you look at 2027, it's mid-June when we were recording this. If you look at my calendar in 2027, you better believe my vacations are already there. Not all of them,
Excellent. Okay.
not all of them, but like
I love
I
you said all.
prioritize travel. So I'm
Yes.
going to fit everything else around that. I prioritize my health a lot. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get in my trainer sessions every single week. I value family dinners. So you
Hmm.
better believe like I might go back to work, but I will be stopping work when my boys are home to be able to have that time for family dinners. So I think just getting really clear on what you value, and as long as you like actually prioritize it, that's half the battle. Most people think think they don't have the time, but I'm
Yes.
sorry, if these CEOs are coming by the time, like it's just an example that that is the manifestation of their execution of what they value, and women tend to put other people first, moms in particular. So it's probably a byproduct of you putting other people first instead of yourself.
Yeah, it's not playing the main character. We talk about this a lot with my clients and just recognizing that in order to be successful, you have to leave that room for growth and joy and opportunity and thoughts, right? Like actually having clarity of thought to move forward. So yeah, if you were filling every day as you and I used to do in our other lives, just billing by the hour, putting as much in and going to bed exhausted with really no movements forward. So here's my question to you. You must have some hacks. You must have some systems that when you get with a client, these are the first thing based on the people you're working with that blind spot for them. What's the biggest blind spot?
I think the biggest, I would not call this a hack as much as it is awareness. So for the blind spot for most people are the boundaries that they are not putting in place for themselves.
Yes.
And I work with them to build controls in place so that way they get out of their own way. So as an example, one of my clients, her blind spot was around like she wanted to save. She's from Romania, and more than anything, she wants to be able to go home for Christmas to spend time with her family.
Yes.
And she knows, like she knows that she can't do that because her spending is out of control. She just wasn't sure how to fix it. So it's like boundaries are time related, they're financial related, they are
Mm. Yes.
access, they are like there's so many physical, there's so many different types of boundaries. But oftentimes we think we know what we want, but we don't know how to protect that thing.
That's right.
And for her, that was her finances. She didn't know how to protect her finances. So we put controls in place. We were like, okay, your problem is that you're like when you drop off your kids on your way home, you're stopping at TJ Maxx or Marshalls. Like
Yes.
whatever $5 you saved, you ended up spending $200 because you stopped there. So how can we do things like not traveling with a credit card? It's like you're traveling with $20 now. That
Yay.
way
That's a
you
system. Yes.
like that's a system. We are going to take Apple Pay off your phone. You no longer have the convenience of double clicking. You have to enter your credit card every time.
Every
That's a
single time.
control. You, like, what else do we do with her? I mean, grocery ordering online. Like,
Mm,
can't go to the store anymore because you'll be tempted by all the fun stuff on the aisles. But when you order from home, it'll tell you like, "Hey, here are the things that you need that like you tend to
we
get."
order the
You'll
most.
get
Yes.
you'll be less tempted by the noise. So there are all kinds of controls that we put in place to help protect that boundary. But for most
Yeah.
people, they know what their biggest problems are. They don't either know how to protect that thing
Yes.
that they really value, or they are not prepared mentally to have the discipline to protect that thing. So I help them get over that hump, of yes, absolutely there are ways and many things that I share. Like today we spent a lot of time on my client call this morning, my group program talking about meal planning. And a lot of this stuff is not rocket science. It's how we do it to make it as easy and seamless as possible. Um,
Yes.
like that stuff's the little stuff. The big stuff for people, the thing that actually moves rocks is normally having the right boundaries in place that will allow you to protect your time, to protect your finances, to protect whatever it is that you most value.
I love that you say the word protect. I think that's really that's a whole new way of thinking in my mind because a lot of times we get so set on this idea that like boundaries mean like sending this away or calling this fear or whatever the case may be. But it really is the inverse. And I love that you reverse engineer it there. It is not about finding blame with a choice or with a mindset. It's not about finding blame with it. It's about really focusing on what that thing is that you want. And I think that's what impacted me the most when you said, listen, I don't mind getting my nails done, but my bigger priority, the thing that I'm protecting most with those resources is to be a nimble grandma.
Mhm.
And I think if we can get people thinking downstream to what they resonate with most, a lot of this noise that comes from the internet, comes from the outside of us, the things that we think should matter or that matter to other people around us, we can get rid of that noise. We can clear ourselves. I have that issue often with clients where their goals are constantly shifting. And I'm like, whoa, 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 this is not a goal because, last week this wasn't even on our priority map. So I think that's really important that when you said you're protecting something, I think that's a brilliant new mindset for saying we're not setting thing away, we're not casting blame on something, we're not casting shame on ourselves. We're just protecting this version of ourselves or our values.
Exactly, and I think that boundaries, when you think about it like a fence most people have fences in their backyard because it protects their kids, it protects their pets, it protects their property, it protects people from intruding in their space that are not welcome, but you still can open the door to the fence. A fence is not permanent, like, you can go in and out of the fence.
Yes.
Boundaries are very similar, like, they're in place for a reason to protect something that it is that you really value most. It doesn't mean that it needs to be all the time, but it just means structurally, you are acknowledging that something is important enough that you're gonna make sure it remains the priority it is. Like, a priority is a priority for a reason. Priorities have winners and losers, just like a strategy has winners and losers.
Yes.
Not everything can be a priority or you inherently do not have any priorities. So it actually just forces you to get really clear, and I think
Hmm.
that's kind of what you're alluding to, Daphne, is oftentimes people are they're feeling pressure from social media or their neighbors or their colleagues or their friends because they're not super clear for themselves. And but when you get clear, it makes it so much easier to protect.
We talk about priority, and priority means first. Priority means one. So we can't have multiple firsts. I always say that with a client. You can't have multiple firsts. So whatever priority is priority. It's not good, bad. It doesn't have a value assigned to it from the outside world. It's what you've assigned priority.
Yeah,
So
and I think something that's really important on this topic that I talk to my clients about a lot is even if you have the same priorities, it could manifest differently. So, as an example, anytime I speak in corporate, when I ask people, like, who here knows what they value the most? Mm, I don't
mm,
know, 80% of them raise their hands. And I ask for a
it's always the same.
couple people
Yep.
to speak. And most of them will say family. I'm
Hmm.
like, cool. That's not it. It's the double click on it. So
I love that.
family
Yes.
for me, I want to be, as you have acknowledged, like I want to be the grandmother that like fast. I am 40 years old. I am not like I am nowhere close to being a grandmother. Thankfully, my boys are 9 and 10. But like I've got that in mind. Like I want to be able to enjoy my boys well beyond the 18 years I have them in my house. Like that's
Yes.
what I'm valuing. But I have a client who is very religious and she values homeschooling for that reason. I have another who values having dinner around the table together as a family. I have another who's a single mom and she values making sure her daughter is a cycle breaker and is financially independent. So
Yep.
family even looks something different for other people. It's not that I get that you think that you value family the most, but what does that even really mean for you?
Yes.
So I think the double clicking is
Mm.
just as important to you actually being able to put words to why you're doing what you're doing and how they can actually guide your decision making.
I think we all need a little more double clicking. I agree. How do people connect with this mindset, with your community, with what you're building here? Is it groups? Is it one on one? How do people connect with
Yeah,
you?
I do both. So I mean, I have my podcast, The Life Management System. I put a lot of free content out there. But as it relates to my services and how I show up for people, I have a group program. I'm a believer that um, so often women think that they're the only ones going through something, and the
Hmm.
amount of times that I hear in my DMs on Instagram that, wow, I didn't realize that there were other people that were experiencing what I'm experiencing. I mean, it's just, even though there are gajillions of us going through it, it still feels very lonely.
Yeah.
So I have a group program by design because I mean, just today, per prime example, just today, two of my clients one of them was talking about one of the difficulties she's having with her son and his occupational therapist. And I have another one being like, hey, when my son was the same age, he also went through OT and here's what we did and here's some of the things
We
we
need that.
learned.
We need
I
that.
can
Yeah.
like I've got the whole life management system pieced down. Like I got you, girl, if that's what you're trying to learn, but I can't pretend that I've been through that experience.
Yes.
My son went through my oldest went through PT, but he never went through OT.
Hmm.
So it also just I mean it makes us better when we're
It
going through
does.
things with other people and it makes us feel a lot less alone. So I do that, but then I also do more executive level coaching for women that are at that level.
Awesome. And it is, as we know, women's strength is in networking. The more we share, the more we gain, the more we glean. And I think I love that your thought leadership is based in that, and that the more you give, the more you share, the more you network with this community, the more value you actually build. And that's
Yeah.
huge.
Amen.
Courtney, thanks for being with us today. Thanks for not fucking shrinking and building this important community for all of us. We'll talk to you soon,
Thank you
guys.
for
See you
having me,
next week.
Daphne.